So, for most people, what ends up happening, the way most people will develop game is the same way most people develop sales skills, the same way most people develop the hustler mentality. They have to. Now, some people try to skip the step by getting money. Like, oh, they'll say, I'm not going to date until I get money. So then they don't have any game. The way you develop game is when you're on the way up, especially, and even if you're already there, take away some of what you have. Don't use it. Talk to people. Start learning how to actually have conversations with people and develop a relationship out of thin air, out of nothing. How do I go up to this person without all my fanciest clothes on? How do I go up to this person without a $300,000 watch on my wrist? How do I go up to people, even people I'm not interested in on a physical level? How do I go up to people and just start developing relationships with them? They could be platonic relationships. They could just be acquaintances. How do I go up to people and talk to them and have conversations and start understanding what people actually want? What do people really want? And what are they willing to do to get it? If you talk to a hustler, you talk to somebody that's like a con person, a con man, con woman, what they are good at is finding out what you want, exactly what your truest desires are. And when they figure out what you want, all they do is fill in for that, what you really want. Like most people will say, oh, well, a woman wants to be on a yacht. Why? See, you bought a yacht because you saw girls on a yacht. Why do they want to be on a yacht? You got to figure that part out and provide that with you and not just the yacht. They're looking for the experience. They're looking for what they believe a yacht means. The status that a yacht provides, the enjoyment, the stuff they saw on the video where everybody was popping champagne and they just seemed like they were having such a good time. That's what they want from that yacht. Most of them don't really know what kind of yacht you got. They don't know, they don't have much yacht information.
So would it be fair to say that because I often say this to my clients, is that if it works in sales, it works in dating. And
for sure.
What is in common in both of those things is that what really seems to be successful is the ability to cultivate an emotional experience.
Absolutely.
Can we say that that's kind of game in a nutshell, is the ability to cultivate an emotional experience?
Absolutely. And to make that experience something that they feel like they can't get anywhere else. For people who grew up in the 80s and 90s, that was the crack era, right? In the 80s and 90s, they had these people that some of y'all younger people may not even know about crackheads, but they would just be just really on, just really after it, getting after it. And with most of them, it's not even necessarily the chemical dependency as much as what their body and their mind is telling them is that first high that you got. Your body tries to chase that. Your mind tries to chase that. You chase it on a spiritual level for the rest of your life. They call that chasing the dragon. Mm-hmm. Now, because of that experience that you want to get back over and over again, even if you keep getting a diminished version of it, you keep chasing it over and over again. What a lot of men don't understand when you go out with women, when you deal with women, if you can create that experience and that feeling and tap into something emotionally one time. Have you ever noticed that women will date a guy who doesn't seem like he has anything to offer? That you're like, why do you keep going back to this dude? Well, they're chasing the dragon. That dude is
Murphy would say that he fucked her really good, and that's part of why she keeps coming back, and that's certainly part of the.
They may be a little bit small amount.
Yeah,
with a person, it's just like with a girl. Okay, look, the worst piece of pussy you ever have in your life is still good. Mm-hmm. But how many guys do you know are chasing after a woman who hasn't slept with them in 3, 4, 5, 6 years, sometimes even more? Still chasing, still hoping, man, one day if I do this, she'll come back. One day if I do that, she'll come back. You might even look at the girl and be like, she's not even really that attractive. It probably wasn't even that good or that much better than the last woman. Mm. But she was somehow able to tap into an experience, an emotional connection that you had, and it hit all the factors, your mind, your body, your spirit. And because that happened, you're going to chase that for as long as you possibly can. You'll chase it until you have nothing left. And what a lot of guys don't really understand, and what guys who have game do understand, I need to create an experience. And as many times as I can create that experience, it renews this woman's attraction for me. I don't need to create it with money. I don't need to create it by doing spectacular things that matter so much. It's just I need to find out what makes that woman tick, and I need to create that experience. Some guys create it in a negative way. Sometimes, go ahead.
Well, how do they figure that out? I imagine you can't just ask directly, because a lot of people actually don't know what they really want. Do you think that that's true?
Absolutely, it's true. When you talk, okay, the way it's like I actually sold cars and a couple of different items. My father, I always say this, my father's the greatest salesman that ever lived. And he got the plaques and everything to prove it. He taught me a lot of stuff about sales. And one of the biggest things is to sell somebody something, you got to really listen. Not just listen to what they tell you, but also listen to what they don't tell you. So when you look at somebody, you say you get a nice girl that you find attractive. You're just like, what makes this girl tick? I don't understand this woman. What is it that I need to know about her that these are the things that matter the most to her? Well, when you want to figure that out about somebody, don't ask them what the most important things are. Ask them about other things. Hey, what's your favorite movie? Figure out what movie they like to go see. Do they like to go see romantic comedies? Well, that means that a lot of times they want that up and down boy meets girl, boy loses girl love story. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, like if you watch a guy who likes Spider-Man, he wants that story about the nerd who meets a girl that's the love of his life. He finally gets superpowers. You get what I'm saying? You can tell a lot about a guy by that. You can tell a lot about women by them.
So that basically kind of goes on the psychological premise of identification. That's kind of how movies work and stories work, is that we identify with certain characters, and that's easier to do than others. And maybe we identify almost wishfully, like with the people that we most want to be or would like most to be. And if we're good at kind of analyzing those themes or that work, we can kind of reverse engineer a person's self-concept or what their basic desire might be. That's interesting.
Because what we normally identify with the most is somebody who is the closest to us, transformed into the best version of us. So when we watch a movie or a show or something like that, it's normally going to be the thing. Like if you like look at Rocky. Rocky's not perfect. Rocky's kind of slow-witted, doesn't talk very intelligently. He's poor. Doesn't have a great record as a fighter. He's somebody who you say, wow, this guy's, he's kind of a loser. He gets this opportunity, this chance out of nowhere where Apollo Creed says, hey, I'll fight you. And the transformation that Rocky takes, he has a mentor, and you got to pay attention to every piece of the story. He has a mentor that comes in and trains and changes him into the person that could actually fight Apollo Creed and be successful enough to go down to the last second. Rocky loses in the end, but Rocky becomes somebody you can admire. And
which is interesting because that wasn't very popular. I mean, clearly there was a dozen sequels, but I think he wins in every other movie. It's almost like people couldn't let the story end with Rocky losing.
That's another thing that people don't think about when they think about relationships. Why do a lot of women go back to a guy who doesn't call them? Why do they call over and over again? It's the cliffhanger. The story didn't win the way that I want to. People chase the happy ending. Just like they did with Rocky. They knew when they made Rocky lose that fight that you would be so happy to go see Rocky 2. They knew it.